The Tudors Dynasty Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rebecca Larson. Matilda of Flanders and Matilda of Scotland are two remarkable women whose lives intertwined with the shifting tides of medieval power. From the halls of Normandy to the courts of England, their roles as queen consort, mothers, and political figures are woven into the fabric of history. Matilda of Flanders, the wife of William the Conqueror, left a lasting mark on both Normandy and England, while Matilda of Scotland, the wife of Henry I, navigated the complex political landscapes of England, Scotland, and beyond. Their stories not only shaped the monarchy, but also highlight the strength, intelligence, and resilience that defined medieval queenship. Matilda of Flanders, the queen consort of William the Conqueror, played a significant role in medieval history as both a political figure and a woman of considerable influence. While the exact year of her birth remains uncertain, many historians suggest she was born around 1032 in Flanders. She was the daughter of Count Baldwin V of Flanders and Adela, Princess of France, and her upbringing reflected her noble lineage. The wealth and power of her family reached new heights during her lifetime, thanks to the efforts of her father and grandfather, making the Flanders court one of the richest and most influential in Europe. Matilda's education set her apart from many women of the era. She was fluent in Latin, literate, and well-versed in the management of estates and households. These skills were not only valued, but essential for women of noble birth, as they were often required to manage their households independently during their husbands' frequent absences. Matilda's lineage further enhanced her desirability as a bride. As the granddaughter of King Robert II of France, known as Robert the Pious, and the only daughter of a wealthy and powerful duke, Matilda was a coveted match for ambitious medieval men seeking to strengthen their alliances. Despite her illustrious background, a persistent and intriguing rumor surrounds Matilda's early romantic pursuits. It's said that she offered herself in marriage to Brictric, an Anglo-Saxon thane, who visited Flanders on behalf of Edward the Confessor. The tale suggests that Matilda was captivated by Brictric, but her bold proposal was ultimately rejected. Such an act, highly unconventional for a noblewoman of her status, would have been scandalous without her father's consent. Historians debate the veracity of the story, suggesting that it might have been misremembered or exaggerated over time. It's equally possible that Baldwin himself proposed the match, only for Brictric to decline for reasons unknown. This rejection, however, seems to have lingered in Matilda's memory. Decades later, after she became queen consort of England, she reportedly had Brictric imprisoned, an act interpreted by some as an act of vengeance for his earlier slight. Whether true or apocryphal, this story has endured, painting Matilda as a woman of strong will and ambition, qualities that would come to define her tenure as Duchess of Normandy and Queen of England. The year 1049 marked the beginning of a dramatic and legendary chapter in the lives of William, Duke of Normandy, and Matilda of Flanders. According to tradition, when William proposed marriage, Matilda rejected him outright, reportedly dismissing him as unworthy due to his illegitimate birth. William, born to the illegitimate son of Duke Robert I of Normandy and the daughter of a tanner from Falaise, was enraged by this rejection. The tale goes that in a fit of anger, he dragged Matilda from church and physically assaulted her in the streets, a shocking act by any standard. Astonishingly, the story takes an even more surprising turn. After several days of recovery, Matilda is said to have reversed her stance, declaring that she would accept William as her husband. Whether driven by fear, admiration for his audacity, or deeper political considerations, her change of heart cemented a union that would shape the course of history. This incident, though steeped in legend, reflects the fiery dynamics that seem to characterize their relationship. Notably, this would not be the last time William displayed aggression towards Matilda, though their bond ultimately endured. The marriage, which likely took place in 1049 or 1050, faced opposition from Pope Leo IX. The Pope cited canon law, which forbade marriage between close kin, a rule that likely applied to William and Matilda due to their shared ancestry within 7 generations. Despite this ecclesiastical disapproval, the couple married, and it wasn't until 1059 that Pope Nicholas II officially sanctioned their union, legitimizing their controversial bond. Matilda's role as William's wife was not limited to political alliances. She also secured the Norman line of succession. Their first son, Robert, was born in 1051, and 3 more sons followed: William, Richard, and Henry. While chroniclers of the time paid little attention to daughters, it's widely believed that Matilda bore 5 daughters as well. They were Adela, Constance, Cecilia, Adeliza, and Agatha. Together, William and Matilda built a family that would not only solidify their dynasty, but also leave a lasting legacy across Europe. Their marriage is said to have blossomed into a loving and harmonious partnership, yet numerous stories of William's infidelity persist. 18th century accounts recount that William once planned to seduce 2 women from the Abbey of Prayo, but, overcome with guilt, arranged secret marriages for them instead. When Matilda learned of this, she allegedly erupted in fury, demanding that the women be brought before her. Although this never occurred, both women died within a year. Rumors swirled that Matilda had orchestrated their demise. In retaliation, William is said to have punished her in a brutal manner, ordering her to be dragged through the streets of Caen by her hair, tied to a horse's tail. Another tale casts Matilda herself as the accused. Grimaud de Plessis, a knight in William's service, was found guilty of embezzlement. To deflect blame, he claimed he had acted under Matilda's influence, alleging an affair between them. Enraged by the accusation, William is said to have subjected Matilda to a humiliating ordeal, dragging her naked through the streets behind a horse before imprisoning her. Despite her suffering, Matilda steadfastly maintained her innocence. According to legend, William, disguised in a monk's robe, tricked her into confessing. However, even then, Matilda insisted on her faithfulness. Convinced of her honesty, William ultimately released her and dealt a gruesome punishment to Grimaud, who was skinned alive and quartered. Despite these dramatic and likely apocryphal stories, Matilda proved to be William's most trusted ally and played a vital role in his success. Normandy during their time was a volatile region, plagued by border skirmishes and internal conflicts. While William focused on quelling rebellions and consolidating his rule, Matilda took charge of governing the duchy's more stable territories. She excelled in this role, maintaining order and ensuring the duchy remained peaceful during William's campaigns in England. Thanks to her effective leadership, William could fully dedicate himself to securing victory over the Anglo-Saxons and arranging his coronation as King of England on Christmas Day 1066. Matilda's contributions extended far beyond administration. Her efforts enabled William to plan a grand coronation ceremony for her as well, marking a significant departure from Anglo-Saxon traditions. Unlike previous queens who were rarely crowned and referred to simply as wife of the king, Matilda's coronation as Queen of England was a deliberate political statement. It reinforced Norman customs and emphasized her importance as a stabilizing figure in a newly conquered land. With England's vast size and ongoing rebellions, Matilda served as a visual and independent representative of royal authority, fostering goodwill and stability in troubled regions. Matilda's grand coronation in May 1068 was a meticulously planned event, laden with symbolic significance. Pregnant with her final child at the time, Matilda represented continuity and stability for the burgeoning Norman dynasty. The ceremony featured specially composed laudes, extolling her divine selection, shared sovereignty with William, and virtuous leadership. By highlighting her authority, the coronation sent a powerful message to the English populace. Matilda was not merely the consort of a king, but his equal partner in governance. Following her coronation, Matilda remained in the southern regions of England, while William traveled to York to suppress yet another rebellion. Gradually, she began making her way north, possibly intending to give birth in York as a symbolic gesture to strengthen ties between the city and the royal family. However, her plans shifted when she gave birth to her youngest child, Henry, in the town of Selby. Named after the late King Henry of France, the choice of name underscored the family's enduring ties to continental royalty. Henry's birth on English soil would later prove significant. As the youngest son, his place in the royal succession seemed minor at the time, yet his English birthplace lent a powerful sense of legitimacy to his eventual claim to the throne following the death of his older brother, William II. As queen, Matilda played a pivotal role in maintaining stability across both Normandy and England. While William concentrated on his military campaigns, she ensured the smooth administration of justice and the efficient operation of royal court. Her regency in Normandy showcased her remarkable political acumen, earning her the admiration and respect of her people. Despite her achievements, Matilda faced challenges within her own family, particularly with her eldest son, Robert. Their strained relationship reached a breaking point when Robert rebelled against William. In a shocking twist, Matilda secretly supported her son, sending him messages of encouragement and financial aid. These actions, when discovered, deeply disappointed William and caused a scandal within court. Though Matilda publicly sought her husband's forgiveness, the damage to their trust was irreparable. She was stripped of some of her authority, yet she continued to fulfill her duties with the help of her younger sons and trusted advisors. In her later years, as her health declined, Matilda turned increasingly to her faith. She made generous bequests to church and monasteries, cementing her legacy as a pious and devoted queen. Her death in 1083 marked the end of an era, and her passing was observed with widespread mourning and solemn ceremonies. Matilda was remembered not only for her wisdom and resilience, but also for her ability to navigate the complex roles of regent, queen, and mother. Her contributions were instrumental in securing the success and longevity of William's reign. While Matilda of Flanders' legacy as queen consort of William the Conqueror set a significant precedent for the power and influence of queens in medieval Europe, another Matilda would also play a key role in shaping the course of English history. Matilda of Scotland, the daughter of Malcolm III of Scotland and St. Margaret, navigated a different set of challenges, from her early education in convents to her eventual marriage to Henry I of England. Her life, marked by political alliances, diplomatic efforts, and cultural contributions, would complement and further solidify the legacy and powerful queenship begun by her namesake. While their lives were separated by time and circumstance, Both Matildas shared a common thread: their ability to shape the destinies of their nations through wisdom, perseverance, and grace. Matilda of Scotland, born in 1080, was the daughter of Malcolm III of Scotland and St. Margaret of Scotland. Christened as Edith, she was born on the east coast of Scotland. Her christening was attended by noble figures, including her godmother and future mother-in-law, Matilda of Flanders. At the age of 6, Matilda and her younger sister Mary were sent to Romsey Abbey in England, where their aunt Christina served as abbess. During their time at Romsey and later at Wilton Abbey, Matilda received an exceptional education, becoming fluent in Latin and skilled in arts of diplomacy and governance. Her poise and intellect made her a highly desirable bride among the nobility. Despite numerous proposals, including those from William de Warenne, 2nd Earl of Surrey, and Alan Rufus, Lord of Richmond, Matilda declined them all. Even William II of England was rumored to have considered her as a potential bride. In 1093, while still in her early teens, Matilda left the abbey temporarily. This prompted concern from future Saint Anselm, Archbishop of Canterbury, who feared for her safety and wrote to the Bishop of Salisbury, urging her to return to the monastery. Matilda's departure was a sign of her growing independence and her readiness to step into a more prominent role. The political landscape shifted dramatically in August 1100, when King William II of England died, and his younger brother, Henry I, seized the throne and the royal treasury. Henry, recognizing the importance of securing his rule with a politically advantageous marriage, set his sights on Matilda. However, her time spent in a nunnery raised questions about whether she had taken holy vows, which would have disqualified her from marriage. This sparked controversy and debate, adding complexity to the negotiations that would soon follow. When Henry I sought permission to marry Matilda, Archbishop Anselm of Canterbury, newly returned from exile, convened a council of bishops to deliberate on the matter. Matilda provided testimony, clarifying that she had never taken holy vows as a nun. She explained that her parents had sent her to England solely for her education, and that her Aunt Christina had veiled her as a precautionary measure for her safety, not as religious consecration. After reviewing her account, the bishops confirmed her eligibility for marriage and approved the union. The marriage carried profound political significance. Matilda was a direct descendant of Anglo-Saxon royal lineage, including Alfred the Great, and her union with Henry represented the merging of Norman and Anglo-Saxon bloodlines. For Henry, this alliance bolstered his legitimacy as king, helping to win favor with the English people still loyal to their Anglo-Saxon heritage. Furthermore, the marriage strengthened political ties between England and Scotland, as Matilda's brothers, Edgar and Alexander, were reigning kings of Scotland. This strategic union was not just a personal milestone, but a critical step in uniting fractured realms under Henry's rule. Matilda's marriage to Henry I took place on November 11, 1100, at Westminster Abbey, with Archbishop Anselm officiating the ceremony. After her marriage, she adopted the Norman name Matilda, replacing her earlier name, Edith. Their first child, a daughter named Matilda, was born in February 1102 and will become historically known as Empress Matilda, or Maud. As Holy Roman Empress, Consort, and Countess Consort of Anjou, she was often referred to as the Lady of the English. Though Matilda's marriage was politically significant, it had a poignant history. She had been betrothed to Henry V, Holy Roman Emperor, at the age of 7, but their union, while noble, was childless, marking a personal sorrow for the couple. Despite this, Matilda's life would be defined by her political and diplomatic influence, particularly in both England and the Holy Roman Empire. Matilda and William's son, William, was born in November 1103, but tragically died at the age of 17, when the ship he was traveling on, the White Ship, sank during its journey from Normandy to England. As Queen, Matilda primarily resided at Westminster, but frequently traveled with Henry throughout England. She is believed to have accompanied him on his trip to Normandy in 1106 to 1107. Matilda held a prominent role at Henry's court, serving as a member of his Curia Regis and acting as his representative in his absence until his son William reached an age where he could assume that responsibility in 1118. Educated at the convents of Romsey and Wilton, Matilda was instrumental in enhancing cultural life at court, bringing in musicians, poets, and scholars. She commissioned a biography of her mother by the monk Thurgo, and was renowned for her piety, charitable works, and dedication to caring for the sick. She also managed extensive estates and was a patron of the arts, particularly music. A prolific letter writer, many of Matilda's letters have survived, offering insight into her active involvements in both religious and political affairs. Matilda passed away on the 1st of May, 1118, at Westminster Palace, which had been built by her husband. She was buried at Westminster Abbey, where she was remembered for her wisdom, grace, and devotion to her family and kingdom. The legacies of Matilda of Flanders and Matilda of Scotland reveal profound influence that medieval queens held, both in their familial roles and their governance. Matilda of Flanders, with her pivotal role in Normandy's stability and her influence in England, exemplified the power of a queen who was both a political partner and a mother to future rulers. Similarly, Matilda of Scotland's marriage to Henry I cemented a powerful alliance that impacted English and Scottish relations, and her role to the court enriched England's cultural and political life. Their stories are a testament to the strength of women in an age dominated by men, and their contributions continue to echo through history. And that concludes another episode of the Tudors Dynasty podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you love the show and would like to show your support, consider becoming a patron over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Tudors Dynasty. Over there, you'll get commercial-free episodes, early access, and some patron-exclusive content as well. If you would prefer to show your support in another way, head on over to my website, tudorsdynasty.com, and click on the shop to see some of the new merchandise that I have available. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.
The Tudors Dynasty Podcast.